Hello everyone, my name is Julie Gardner. I'm a registered dietitian with Wellness Form Health, and today I am joining you to talk to you about a couple different things. The first topic I wanted to share with you about is adults eating enough fruits and vegetables. So we all know that eating fruits and vegetables is important. They have a lot of essential nutrients and they can reduce our risk for different diseases. Also, if we eat fruits and vegetables in place of the more energy-dense foods, they can help with weight management. However, it comes as no surprise to me in this article that I recently read that Americans are struggling to eat enough fruits and vegetables. So this study was carried out by the CDC, and they analyzed the 2013 Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System to determine the average daily fruit and vegetable intake in the U.S. and the percent of each state's population that actually met the fruit and vegetable recommendations. This survey, it's the sole source of dietary information for most states. So this survey, I'm going to refer to it as the BRFSS, asks respondents how many times per day, week, or month they consumed 100% fruit juice, whole fruit, dried beans, dark green vegetables, orange vegetables, and other vegetables over the previous period of time. And then they just use, it's part of a rotating core questionnaire that they administer every year. So for this study, the respondents were excluded if they did not reside in the U.S., if they were missing responses to questions, or if they had implausible reports of fruit or vegetable intake. And after excluding these respondents, the resulting sample size was 373,000 people. So during 2007 to 2010, half of the total U.S. population consumed less than 1 cup of fruit and less than 1.5 cups of vegetables daily. Pretty dismal. 76% did not meet fruit intake recommendations, and 87% did not meet vegetable intake recommendations. The researchers found that in every state, less than 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. are consuming enough fruits, and less than 1 in 10 adults are consuming enough vegetables on a daily basis. So the estimates range from 8% meeting the fruit recommendations in Tennessee up to 18% in California. And for vegetables, it was 6% in Mississippi up to 13% in California, so pretty low. We all know that fruit and vegetable consumption affects our health, and because it's so low across all the states, I think that great efforts really need to be taken to increase the demand and consumption. Improving fruit and vegetable consumption should start with improving intake during childhood, where we can really influence the formation of good habits that will be carried into adulthood. The CDC suggests that substantial new efforts are needed to build consumer demand for fruits and vegetables through competitive pricing, placement, and promotion in childcare, schools, grocery stores, communities, and work sites. And I agree with them. I think this is a great start. I mean, we could all serve to eat a little bit more fruits and vegetables, but I don't think that they capture the whole picture here. And I think part of the reason why adults aren't eating enough fruits and vegetables is because they're eating a poor diet overall, and they don't understand that you don't just need to increase your fruit and vegetable consumptions to see these health outcomes. You really need to improve the entire diet. You're not going to see the health outcomes if you continue to eat cheese and dairy and oil along with improving your fruit and vegetable consumption. So I think the way that we get people to adopt these habits, we teach them the whole diet and the whole lifestyle, and that's how we motivate them, because that is how they see the greatest health outcomes. So in order to do that, there's got to be massive changes in public policy. Education is needed starting at the grade school level. Our healthcare professionals need to be informed about the power of diet, and workplace initiatives and school programs need to be implemented in order to solve this problem. And I think it's a great opportunity for those of us who are in this business to not only make profits, but also to help people who desperately need it. All right, the next topic I wanted to talk to you about is weight perceptions among teens. And I think teens are really bombarded daily with images of what they should look like. You know, they see pictures of celebrities, the ultra-thin models, and then they're also seeing media coverage of the obesity epidemic. So I think this can get a little bit confusing for teens. And a recent study published in the International Journal of Obesity reports that overweight and obese teens don't believe they have a weight problem. So a group of researchers in the UK sought to examine whether British teens have an accurate sense of where they fall along the weight scale. So they analyzed data from the Health Survey for England between 2005 and 2012. And this is an annual survey of households that's representative of the English population. And they selected the results from about 5,000 adolescents aged 13 to 15. The weight status was defined as normal weight or overweight obese, and this was based on the BMI, or body mass index, standard deviation scores that are usually used for adolescents. The weight perception was based on adolescents' choice from the following descriptors: about the right weight, too heavy or too light. And of the group, nearly 3/4 of them were normal weight, 20% were overweight, and about 7% were obese. So the majority of the normal weight adolescents, that was 83%, correctly identified themselves as about the right weight. Overestimation was uncommon, with only about 7% of normal weight adolescents identifying themselves as too heavy. However, not surprisingly, there was a difference between the genders. The girls were more likely to describe themselves as heavy when they were actually normal weight than the boys. In contrast, only about 60% of the overweight obese adolescents correctly identified themselves as too heavy. The bad news here also, nearly 40% of the overweight and obese teens did not self-identify as too heavy. Overweight girls, however, recognized the issue more than boys did. Nearly half the boys did not think that they had a weight problem or that they were too heavy. So I think this is an issue that really needs to be addressed. Professor Jane Wardle from Cancer Research UK Health Behaviour Research Centre, she says that this study was a cause for celebration and concern. Young people who think they're overweight when they're not can sometimes develop devastating eating disorders. So we're delighted that most of the normal weight teenagers had a realistic view of their body size. But we need to find effective ways of helping too heavy teenagers slim down and maintain a healthier weight. And it's vitally important that we find out whether it helps if they are more aware of their weight status. She says there are no easy answers. And I agreed with her to a degree, but I also believe that I think it is important for teens to know whether or not they're overweight or obese, because if they don't realize that, then they can't address the issue. Research shows that overweight or obese adolescents are likely to carry this weight into adulthood, and that's especially if they don't realize that they have a weight problem. And carrying this weight into adulthood, of course, puts them at greater risk of developing degenerative diseases. With overweight and obesity rates higher than ever among adolescents, this is a huge issue that needs to be addressed. However, I'm not convinced that the best tactic is to label these children as overweight or obese and then possibly shaming them into compliance with a healthy diet. Like I said before, if they don't understand the importance of adopting healthy habits, then they're not likely to make these habits a priority, and they will likely just fall back into their old ways. So I think there are better ways to help these adolescents. I think that empowering them with the right knowledge and skills to start taking charge of their health is the best first step. And this needs to start from the moment of conception. We need to start paying attention to children's diet and weight. We need to be more proactive instead of waiting for a problem to occur. And this is a common trend in healthcare nowadays. People wait until they get sick and then they decide they need to go and take care of it. We need to be proactive and not reactive. So we need to realize that health needs to be a priority and make that, bring that to the forefront. And that way we can prevent these problems altogether. So the earlier we can influence children, the more likely they are to keep these skills throughout life. And it's time for all people who have an influence on children, including parents, teachers, coaches. Everyone who's around children needs to set a good example. So we all need to practice these habits, model them for our children, model to them what is a good eating pattern, model to them how to exercise. Then they will start to adopt the habits themselves. And in my experience, children really can be made to understand the importance of eating healthfully and maintaining a healthy body weight. And they will participate fully with the compliance of everyone around them. So thank you guys for joining me today. Dr. Popper will be back with you next.